Hello, Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz, 11:35 p.m. and it is the 27th of August. And the topic is in part Oxycontin and a very surprising tidbit of information at the end of this segment here. It shocked me, and I want you to hear it. But the Oxycontin is not the problem. It's not the hydrocodone. It's the fentanyl. That's what China is sending here. And that's what Mexico is using and mixing these drugs. That's what people here are cutting these drugs with. And that's what's killing people. It's not if somebody's using hydrocodone, two or three a day, that's not going to hurt them. It's just when they mix that fentanyl with it, or start taking 10 or 12 a day, or 3 or 4 at a time. Listen to this, very interesting, because it leads into something that kind of shocked me. I want you to hear it.
Regard to fentanyl, which has become such a deadly part of this equation. The Chinese foreign minister saying this, the foreign ministry spokesperson saying, when it comes to reducing demand for fentanyl, the U.S. government absolutely can do even more. The United States should respect the facts and stop pitting the blame on others. What do you make of that part of this equation, the fentanyl part?
Well, let's look at this. The Chinese, look, there's always more everybody can do, right? There's always more all government can do, every family can do, everybody can do. But let's look at China for a second. They sit there and I'm losing my voice. They sit there and they have a social media, they monitor your social media. They have facial recognition, but they can't figure out where the fentanyl is coming from. Come on, they know exactly where it's coming from, and it's part of their plan to hurt our country. This is a government, the Chinese government, that is not to be trusted. There's nothing they do that's good for this country.
So do you think in the broader spectrum of, we're talking tonight as well about trade talks with them, the unrest in Hong Kong. I know that you've been very vocal about trying to stand with the protesters in Hong Kong, support them, and it makes me think of, you've spoken out as well for Venezuela and the folks there, where they still have Nicolas Maduro as their president. I mean, are these people who are fighting for democracy around the country around the world, right to now look to the U.S. and say, we'll get support there, they will back us? How much should they be counting on that these days?
I think everybody in the world that cares about freedom and democracy ought to be helping and doing everything they can to support the protesters in Hong Kong. But let's look at the Chinese government. They can't be trusted, all right? They joined the WTO. They didn't comply. They steal our technology. They said to President Obama they wouldn't militarize the South China Sea. They did. They're helping Maduro commit genocide against little children every day. There's no human rights. So, I mean, they don't support anything that's good for world order.
Wow. Did you hear that last part? That very last part? Did you catch that?
Human rights.
Right here.
I mean, they don't support anything that's good for world order.
World order. Wow. Guys, the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to do another blog. I'm going to pick up on this, and I'm going to tell you quickly that the people that are dying on drug overdoses, I think there's 76 a day, something like that in our country. It's the fentanyl, and it's the true drug addicts who are shooting up everything they can shoot up, including Drano. But the people who take hydrocodone, things like that, for pain, and they take 2 or 3 tablets a day, they're not abusing it. It's the people on the streets who are mixing that stuff. Mexicans who are mixing that stuff. The cartels who's mixing, and those come from South America, mixing these things and putting that poison on our streets. Yeah, and I can tell you that it's a plan of China to do all that damage they can do to not only our country, but all countries. But Rick Scott said something that was more chilling to me than all that. World order. I'm going to tell you about that on the next blog. Jody Wolf Expoz.